What's up everybody, once again my name is Matt, and I asked you guys on social media what type of videos you wanted to see me make on the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and a lot of you guys actually wanted to hear my experience at E3, and also my thoughts and opinions on the demo that I played while I was there, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. We're going to start by talking about, my experiences on days 1 through 3 of E3, and then I'll give you guys my overall thoughts and opinion on the demo itself, so let's get right into it. Day 1 of E3 was pretty interesting. Like, we were all super excited to go to the event, but the expo hall itself doesn't actually open until 11 a.m., so we pretty much got up, got ready, and by 9 a.m., we were ready to go, but obviously we couldn't really enter the convention hall, so we just stayed at our apartment that we were renting, and we watched the Nintendo Treehouse livestream, and that's where we saw, like, the unveiling of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, that trailer completely blew all of our minds. I really wish we had a camera like in that room recording, because our reactions were like priceless, man. There was so much just like mind-blowing going around the room. It was just absolutely incredible. So right after that trailer dropped, myself and Zelda Master Luke went off into separate rooms to go and like make videos for our channels, and by the time we got all those done, rendered and uploaded, we were pretty much ready to go to the convention hall, because it was almost like 11 a.m., maybe a little bit past 11 a.m. So we immediately just like got an Uber, went straight to the convention hall, got our badges, and rushed directly to the Nintendo booth. And here's where we got a little bit lucky, because I don't think Nintendo realized how popular their booth was going to be at this E3. Like, by the end of E3, Legend of Zelda was one of the most talked about games, or the most talked about game. Nintendo won Best in Show from a number of different sources, and their booth was easily one of the most crowded booths during the entire event. Like, it was insane how long the line was when we got there, and we were maybe only 20 minutes after the convention hall opened up, so it's not like we were super late, but the line was already ridiculous. Like, I actually drew a diagram just to sort of demonstrate how long the line was. So right over here is actually the entrance to their booth, right? The line went down, around, all the way up, around the other side of their booth and up again, and then it went across, down, across again, and then up some more. So the line was ridiculously long. Like, we got into the back of the line. First of all, it took us a good, I want to say like 10 minutes just to find the back of the line, because we had no idea like where the thing ended. So we had to like follow it all the way around, find the back of the line, and then we had to sit there. And yeah, we sat in that line for a solid, I want to say 5 hours, and I think we were one of the last groups that they actually let in, because they got sort of smart after a little while and closed off the line completely so no one else could line up for it. And like, our group was one of the last few that actually got into the demo. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And the thing is, so E3, like, it opens up at 11 a.m. for normal attendees. Like, you can get in a little bit earlier if you're part of the press, but most of us were just like normal attendees. So we got in at 11 a.m. and it closes at like 5 p.m. So you have like 6 hours to see everything during the day, and we waited in that line for, I want to say, 5 hours. So yeah, we spent like a majority of our first day in line waiting to play Zelda, but thankfully, we did actually get a chance to play the demo, and their booth was amazing. Like, it's super cool how they did this. So they take a group of people into like this small room, there's a giant screen, they play a different trailer than the one they showed on the live stream, then like the screen rises up, some doors open, and they lead you into their booth, which was crazy decorated, like themed all around The Legend of Zelda. It looked amazing. I actually do have like a booth tour video up on my channel, so you should definitely check that out, because their booth was phenomenal. But yeah, so they lead you like through their booth up to a group of like TV screens where they have the demo playing, and they have two separate demos that you get to play. So the first demo was just like, they plopped you into the middle of the Great Field with some minor story progression already done, and they expect you to just like roam around and learn how to play the game. So for me, this was a little bit overwhelming, just because, well, first off, it's a game I've never played before. I really don't know the controls. Like, they're down on a sheet in front of me, but I also don't really know where I am, or where like I should go, or what I should really be doing. So I was kind of overwhelmed at first. Really, the only thing that I wanted to do was climb one of the giant towers just to see what was on top of it. But yeah, so I did that and found out that at the top of the tower you can't really interact with anything in this version of the demo, so I wasted a bunch of time. And then I jumped off and thought I had the paraglider, but I didn't, so I ended up dying, which was kind of fun. Then we got to the story demo, and this one I liked a little bit more because I think they should have started with this one, since it does teach you a little bit more about the game. Like, you know, you start in that beginning area, you get your first set of gear, you talk to the old guy, he gives you like a minor objective, then you just sort of go and like complete that, go to your first shrine, and etc, etc. So it did teach me a little bit more about the game, and once I got that out of the way, I was like, alright, now I sort of understand what's going on here. Next time I play this demo, you know, I'm going to be ready to look for like all these cool secrets and try and just see a bunch of cool things and figure out what this game actually has to offer. So we got done with like our first play session, you know, got our t-shirt and coin, and we got out of there because pretty much there was nothing else we could do since the convention hall was just about to close. So that ended off like our day 1 of E3. Day 2 of E3 was a little bit different. So again, we got up early, went directly to the Nintendo booth, but Nintendo got smart and they actually capped the line off a lot sooner than they did on day 1. So they actually closed down the line completely and would not let anyone else line up. So it looked like we probably weren't going to get a chance to play the demo on day 2, but thanks to my friends of Dollar Smash and some people at Zelda Universe, they actually managed to get us into the Nintendo VIP area, which was amazing because it's completely separate from the normal booth. It's like on the second floor. They got some Wii U's set up there on like larger TVs, and they actually have Wolf Link amiibos, so you can try out the Wolf Link functionality in the game as well. So managed to get up there, play the 2 demos again, and this time use the Wolf Link amiibo, which was really, really cool. And because we were like in the VIP area, every single like setup had their own dedicated Nintendo rep, like, you know, next to you, sort of helping you along the way and like telling you stuff about the game. And the Nintendo rep that I had, I think her name was Jane, was super helpful. Like, we got to talking about The Legend of Zelda in general. I told her that I played the demo on day 1, and she basically said, alright, you should probably go here and check that out because there's some cool stuff over there. So, like, she was pointing me in the direction of some really cool stuff. Like, I think she wanted to make me go up to Mount Hylia just because when you get up there, like, the temperature changes. So obviously she wanted to, you know, show me that, yeah, when you get to different areas, there's different climates and you're going to want to change your gear and stuff like that. And along the way, we actually found like a shack with some weapons, like a rock that I could blow up, and I got myself like fire arrows, stuff like that. So I got to see and do a lot of things that I didn't do in the first time I played the demo, just because, you know, I had a little bit more experience, and I also had someone who was like dedicated to showing me all these really cool things in the demo. That way I could get like the best possible experience. So that was a lot of fun. And then of course we went back to the story demo, and pretty much same deal. Like the story demo, they make you follow like a set path, so there's really not a whole lot of variation you can do in that particular demo. But I did manage to get through the first shrine on my second playthrough of that demo, which was a lot more than I accomplished on the first time. Like the first time I went through the shrine, I only got like halfway done with it, and then like my time cut off. So this time I got all the way through the first shrine, and I got back out to the field where I was playing around for a little bit, and then, you know, my time ran out and I had to go. The thing that stinks is I probably could have stayed up in that VIP area a little bit longer and maybe played the demo again, but I got the footage that I needed, and I decided to get out of there because it was a little bit crowded. Except a few moments after I left, guess who showed up into that VIP area? Reggie of Nintendo. Yeah, so if I stayed up there a little bit longer, I actually would have gotten the opportunity to meet Reggie, and I'm super upset that I left early just because, you know, it was a little bit crowded, because, oh man, I would have loved to meet Reggie, man. That would have been so cool, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So that was pretty much it for day 2, like, at least Zelda-wise, because we still had a lot of time left at the convention center, because obviously the lines in the VIP area were non-existent, like we could just go up and play. So yeah, once we left the Zelda booth, we pretty much just went around and looked at a bunch of other stuff while we were there. So day 3 comes along, and obviously I wanted to make sure that I got the last like batch of Zelda footage that I could get. Like, this was my last opportunity, so I got up super early on my own, went to the convention center on my own, and I lined up to get inside the expo hall. So this was before 11 a.m. Like, I think it was maybe 9:30 I got in line. There was a bunch of people in front of me, and I just sat there until like 11. They opened the doors and let us in, and I just ran directly to the Nintendo booth. But by the time I got there, the line had already been closed off. Like, there were 4 other people in front of me, and that's when the line got cut off. So, like, if I had just gotten ahead of 5 more people, I would have been in that first section of lines. But, you know, what are you going to do? So, The line closed off. I talked to the lady a little bit, and she said come back at like 1 or whatever, and maybe they'll reopen the line. So I just said, alright, whatever, I'll go around and look at some other stuff, and that's what I did. I came back a little bit later. One of my friends was actually in the line already, thanks to, again, some people at Zelda Universe. So, you know, I got in line with him, and we did get to play the demo for the 3rd time, and that's when I actually got my direct audio footage for the demo. I tried to get direct audio when I was in the VIP area, but the gamepad audio was like turned all the way up, and that was going directly into my camera, which was calibrated for my microphone, so the audio was completely blown out. Thankfully, I realized that for day 3, made the proper adjustments, and that's how I got that nice, crisp, direct audio that I uploaded a couple of days ago. But yeah, that was pretty much my E3 experience in a nutshell. Like, there really wasn't a whole lot at E3 besides Zelda that I was interested in, so I spent a majority of my time at the Nintendo booth trying to cover Zelda as best as I possibly could. But yeah, now I guess I could talk about my thoughts and opinions of the demo itself. So, from what I played, I was super impressed with the demo. I love all of the new additions, like, you know, the survival mechanic with eating food, the ability to swap your weapons, armor, and shield and all that jazz in, like, its own separate menu with, like, inventory and stuff like that. I think it's really well done, and it is like the natural progression for the Legend of Zelda series, because I feel like this is the Zelda game that Nintendo's wanted to make for a very long time, because you can see sort of hints of this in Skyward Sword with like the inventory system in that game and the you know, different upgrades that you can get in that game. But now in Breath of the Wild, they have like the ability to make this fully fleshed out large open world with like these great RPG mechanics, and this truly is like Nintendo's first next-gen game, if you will, because there is nothing else like this on a Nintendo console made by Nintendo. Like, sure, Xenoblade Chronicles X comes close, but that's really about it. And funny thing about that is, Monolith Soft, like the developers behind Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X, are actually working with Nintendo on Breath of the Wild, which is a really good thing because, like I said, Nintendo's never made a game of this scope before, whereas Monolith Soft has 2 games under their belt, and they're already used to developing with the constraints of Nintendo hardware. So I have no doubt that this game is going to turn out great just because of who's actually working on it. Like, Nintendo has a track record for making fantastic games, and Monolith Soft knows how to really do RPGs really, really well. So those two combined together to make the next Zelda title, like, no doubt in my mind, this is going to turn out and be fantastic. The game itself feels great already. There is definitely that Zelda feel to it. Like, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, this is just now a generic, like, survival game, blah, 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 this isn't Zelda. And I gotta say, you really need to give the game a chance first, because it has all the core Zelda elements to it. Like, you have the exploration, you have the puzzle solving, but now on top of that, you have, like, the ability to eat food to regenerate hearts whenever you want to. You have the ability to hunt, you have the ability to explore this massive overworld and find like various different materials and items. And sure, rupees and stuff like that have been changed because you're not really going to find those in the wild as much. You're going to get those more from you know, selling various different items to merchants and other NPCs and stuff like that. And I think that's really, really cool, because if you think about it, like, finding rupees in the grass never really made sense. But yeah, I don't know, I'm super looking forward to the game. It felt really good. I did have a couple of complaints about it. My first complaint is something that I noticed like right off the bat, is the stamina meter. I think it runs out a little bit too quickly, because here's the thing, if we only got to see 1% of the map, that means the game world is huge, and I can already see one of my biggest gripes being that getting around is going to take a while, at least on foot. Like, sure, there's going to be other travel methods like using horses or fast traveling to the different Sheikah towers or what have you, but still, like, when you're just running around, your stamina meter runs out very, very quickly, and it was rather annoying to have to wait, like, run just a couple of seconds, then wait for your stamina to recharge, then run for a couple of seconds, wait, and etc, etc. Like, kind of annoying, and there are ways you can extend your stamina by eating different, like, foods and stuff like that. But overall, I think they should make the stamina meter deplete a little bit more slowly, just because you use stamina for, like, running, climbing, attacking, so yeah, it's going to be kind of annoying to manage all of that if it does deplete as quickly as it did inside the demo. The only other complaint that I had was that occasionally the frame rate would dip. I'm assuming the demo was running at 30 FPS, and occasionally as you would like get into a very large area, or if you were fighting like a bunch of enemies or something like that, the frame rate would dip down into like the 20s, so it's a little bit concerning with that. But again, it is just like a demo build, so who knows, they might have that worked out by the time the full game comes out. I hope they do. Like, honestly, if they can only fix one of the problems, I would prefer that they fix the frame rate over than the stamina meter, because obviously we can work around the stamina meter no problem, but the frame rate is going to affect a lot of different people, so hopefully by the time the game comes out, they can lock that to either a solid 30 FPS experience or a solid 60 FPS experience with like 0 dips whatsoever. Like, that would be ideal for me. Everything else about the game is mostly positive. Like, I love the climbing mechanic, I love the ability to swap out your gear and stuff like that and find new gear in the field. The combat got upgraded quite a bit, guys. It's actually a lot harder to fight enemies and defeat enemies in this game than like any other Zelda game, and I think that's a great thing because they kind of tried that with Skyward Sword, just like due to the whole motion control gimmick, but you guys know how I feel about that. But in this game, they really nailed it down. Like, you can't just go in and swing your sword around like willy-nilly, because the enemies will be able to counterattack you and deal a lot of damage. Like, they're a lot harder and more dangerous than in any other Zelda game, so I'm really looking forward to that. Like, certain enemies like the Guardians, if you have 3 hearts, they can one-hit you, so yeah, you really need to be careful. And the combat feels perfect too, because there's no motion control gimmicks whatsoever. Everything is done with the buttons, and there's like different combos that you can pull off. There's like the bullet time mechanic, which I never actually figured out how to do while I was playing the demo, but I know it's in there, so that opens up a whole lot of possibilities for, you know, combat in that of itself. And I'm so looking forward to learning like all the nuances and getting like really good at the combat in the game. That way you can defeat, you know, the tougher enemies pretty easily. The only time that the game does use motion controls is when you're using the bow, and that uses the gyro controls on the gamepad. And that's actually not a bad thing at all. Like I said before, I love the gyro controls for aiming. They've never let me down in the past, so I am totally okay with that. The graphics look absolutely phenomenal. I like the fact that they're sort of stylized graphics and not more like realistic graphics, because the thing is, when you apply realistic graphics to a game, it tends to age the game far more quickly than stylized graphics. Like, if you look at Wind Waker or even Wind Waker HD and stuff like that, yeah, sure, the games are cartoony, but, you know, graphically, they've held up fairly well, and that's just due to the fact that they are stylized and not, like, trying to be realistic. So I'm a super huge fan of, the art style and the graphic direction that they've taken Breath of the Wild, so I'm super looking forward to that as well. The only other minor complaints that I've heard is that there's no background music when you're just, like, walking around in the field, and I gotta agree, that is a little bit strange, but, maybe in, like, this next-gen Zelda title, they're going for a more minimalistic approach with the music and just want to leave like ambient sounds and stuff like that, and only have the music play during the more intense scenes or whenever you're in like one of the dungeons or one of the shrines and something like that. So that could be the case, and if it is, I might be okay with it, but at the same time, you know, I gotta say, I love the overworld music of Zelda games, so not having it would feel kinda strange. Perhaps it just like wasn't implemented in the demo. That also could be the case. Maybe like they didn't compose the song yet, or they haven't recorded it, or they just didn't want to put it in the demo because they want to save it for the actual game itself. But overall, yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. It plays really smoothly, really nicely. Besides the frame rate dips and like the stamina meter depleting a little bit too quickly, everything I have to say about the game is positive. Like, I am so looking forward to this game. You have no idea. So yeah, don't worry guys. It feels like a Zelda game still. It definitely is a Zelda game at its core. It just has all these, you know, new mechanics built on top of it that only further sort of enhance your overall experience with the game. And I think it is the natural progression for the Legend of Zelda series. Anyway, so I'm going to end things off here because I feel like I've been rambling for quite a bit now, and I have no idea how long this video is going to be. So yeah, we're going to cut things off here. Once again though guys, my name is Matt, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.